Hey guys, MegaMat1254 here again. Welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be doing a discussion video on the TV series From. Now, From is a show that I started a few years ago. I got caught up right as Season 3 was ending. And I really enjoyed my binge of the show. I think I was doing about 10 episodes a day for those first 3 seasons. I was really hooked into it, really loved the plot and the characters. The hype for Season 4 was on a crazy level. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the first 3 seasons. Season 3 ends with a massive death. They kill Jim off. They literally show his throat getting ripped out by the man in yellow, which is the supposed mastermind of Fromville. He's like the big final boss. They set him up right at the end of Season 3. So the wait for Season 4 was pretty excruciating. I remember the theories and all the videos coming out, you know, people were talking about that ending. It was a big discussion point around the From community. And then, Season 4 came out. And I have some thoughts, to put it that way. So, without further ado, guys, let's get into the video. So yeah, the first thing I want to go over with this season, guys, is abandoned plot lines and misusage of characters. And what do I mean by that? I'll go precisely into it. A lot of the characters this season that are usual mainstays on the show in the first 3 seasons don't really do much here. Like, Randall has, like, a few episodes where we see his character develop a long way from Season 2. Where he's kind of just like this asshole who treats people bad. He's kind of like this prick. And then Season 4 in the early chunk of the season, he's like helping Julie with her story walking and stuff. And I thought it was cool to kind of see like him more a part of the community now and not like this aggressive asshole. But then they just don't do anything with it. Like, he doesn't ever show up again, really, aside from like some background scenes. He kind of just, like, pops up in the background and cuts some vegetables, and, like, he helps pull the tree down in the finale. But that's not really character stuff. That's just more background character stuff. And Julie, while we're on the topic of the story walking, I remember they set up the story walking at the end of Season 3, where she could, like, time travel, and they set up this big plot where she tries to, obviously, go back and save her father from the man in yellow. They, like, do it for 2 episodes, right? Like, in the early chunk of the season. And then it just goes away. And there's not really any resolution to the plot at all. And yes, I know that Season 5 will probably bring it back around. We'll see more of it in Season 5. But for Season 4, that almost felt like a really integral thing that got people talking about the season. Almost like the main plot of it, if you will. And then it just never happened, really. Like, we saw her go back in time twice, I believe. We see her go back to when the RV crashed in Season 1. We see Jim there, and then she gets attacked by the monster and stuff. She goes back again, see Man in Yellow eating the people in the streets and stuff. And then they just don't do nothing with it. It was just very confusing. And they just don't really do anything with these characters outside of, like, the first little chunk of the season. Which is very disappointing, because I really like Julie and Randall, and it's kind of a shame to see their plot just not really go anywhere, aside from, like, some small stuff in the first part of the season. Now, I'll go into the next big thing, and this is one of the biggest complaints I have with the season right here. And this is when I started to, like, question what we were doing this season. Right, so, Sophia. I will go into this real quick. The Man in Yellow is barely in this season, guys. They set him up for, like, one little scene at the start of the episode. You see him actually kill Jim. He finishes him off. Jim's dead. Boom, he's gone. And then he becomes Sophia, right? And he, like, disguises himself and goes into the town. And, look, I like the premise of Man in Yellow becoming this other character. And, like, spying on our group, taking information down, finding out, like, all he needs to find out on the group. I think it's a cool premise, But I feel like we should have seen more of the actual Man in Yellow, like Douglas E. Hughes' portrayal of the character. And that's nothing against Sophia or the actress, Julia Doyle, who plays Sophia. I think she does a great job. And I think Sophia does what she needs to do for the story. But I wanted to see more of, like, the freaky, like, psycho in the yellow suit and shit, like, doing this crazy stuff, like, killing some characters, but we just don't really see him at all. Like, he has one scene in the premiere. He has, like, a very small scene in 404 when he's, like, eating the bodies. He doesn't even speak, though. And then you see him, like, one more time at the end of episode 8, and there is intrigue, but I just find it so lackluster. It's like you build up this big thing, and you don't really get to see much of it at all. Like, I don't know, guys. Maybe that might just be me. I'm not too sure, but I just feel like we were robbed of that character. And I know technically we weren't, because we saw him as Sophia, but, like, you know what I mean? I wanted to see the actual Man in Yellow himself portrayed by Douglas E. Hughes. I wanted to see that character actually in that form. But yeah, it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just something I figured that I should point out as one of the things that I found a little disappointing with Season 4. Like I said, it's not the biggest deal, but yeah. Okay, now let's go into some of the stuff that I like this season. So obviously, there are still things here that I enjoyed. Starting with Boyd. I think Boyd is very much still in character. I really still enjoy him as the lead. He gets some badass moments in this season. And I do love Episode 7. Episode 7 feels like the old era, like, seasons. You got a lot of good plot progression, you got good character moments, good dialogue, and the ending sequence when Kenny's out at night in the street, and you have, like, the monsters attacking him, and then Smiley corners him on the bus and shit, and then Fatima takes control of Smiley to save Kenny's life. I thought that stuff was all handled very well. I think that it was intense. It worked for the story. So yeah, Episode 7, you ain't gonna catch me complaining there. Episode 7 is dope. And I wish that the rest of the episodes could kind of follow in this one's footsteps a little bit. And not to immediately go back to, like, my negatives, but Smiley too, man. Like, we resurrected him at the end of Season 3, right? Like, you show him come back in the Season 3 finale. You see him very briefly in Episode 1. He has that cool scene in Episode 7. And then in Episode 10, he does have that really awesome kill. He takes Muriel out, and it's a friggin' heartbreaking moment for Kirsty's character. But I feel like we could have done a little more with Smiley this season. I don't know, man. Like, you brought him back, and he just really doesn't do anything aside from, yes, he kills a big character off, and that is, like, you know, a big moment. But I don't know, man. Like, I almost feel like he was just barely in this season at all. Like, and I wish we could see more of the portrayal of the character, like, just the monsters in general, honestly, when I say this. I would love to see the monsters fleshed out more, and learn about the lore and stuff. Like, how did these people become these monsters and stuff like that? So obviously, at the end of Episode 10, when Fatima becomes a monster, that kind of leaves it to the imagination right there, that these monsters that we see at night were once also, you know, people that lived here. It would have been really cool to see the origin of the monsters. But yeah, it's not the biggest deal either, because I guess you could still do that in Season 5. Now, on to something that I love this season, and this is my favorite character of the season. I love Jade's storyline this season. They really ramp up his plot, and they really go full on into, like, him trying to get, like, our characters home and stuff. Matter of fact, his development is one of my favorites in the show. You see him in Season 1, he's like this selfish guy who doesn't really believe anything that's going on in the town. He's kind of a prick. And by the Season 4 finale, he's literally willing to put his life on the line to get our characters home. That is excellent character progression and one of my favorite aspects of Season 4. And same with Tabitha's character. Her character's great this season. I don't really got anything to complain about with her either. So yeah, I'll go into a little bit more, guys, and then we'll start wrapping this discussion up. But I guess I'll start ending this video off by saying Elgin's character, completely pointless. He goes down in the finale by Sophia. He doesn't do jack squat this season. He sits around acts like a meathead, and dies an idiot. I don't respect that character at all, and I think he should have died in the Season 3 finale. Now, segueing into what Sophia does after killing Elgin. She goes around the town, right, and starts taking the talismans down. Where she then dumps them. I believe it's into a faraway tree. I believe she dumps them there. As you have the boy in white, who talks to Sophia. And he says, yeah, you're gonna lose this time. And that kind of makes you think, right? Like, that kind of makes your brain ponder. It almost feels like they're setting up, like, a rivalry here. Like, these two characters have the deep history with this place. Almost as if this cycle has repeated so many times for all these, like, years and decades. And every time, the man in yellow wins. It almost feels like that's what's being set up there. Like, this time the cycle will break, the characters and the good guys will win, and the evil will lose. It almost gives me, like, flashbacks of Lost with Men in Black and Jacob, where it's like this battle of light versus evil. I think that could go in a cool direction in Season 5, and there's definitely still time to make Season 5 a great final season. I just hope that the writers lock in. They hear the critiques for Season 4, because I've seen critiques. I know, like, a lot of people ain't fond of this season. I hope the writers see it, and they lock in, and they make, like, Season 5 a banger. Like, that's definitely what needs to happen. Season 5, they need to cook, take their time, don't rush it, and give us a proper conclusion to this show. Too many seasons be fumbling their endings these days, and I don't want that to be the same case for From. Because I know From's capable of ending in a great way, and I hope Season 5, they can steer the ship back on course, make an awesome final season, give these characters the endings they deserve, while satisfying the audience at the same time. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but yeah, Season 4 of From, it ain't really for me. It's not horrible at all. Like, I wouldn't even call this a bad season, but compared to the first 3, I just find this season to be a massive letdown. Not much happens. The characters don't really do much. A lot of them are severely underused. And yeah, I don't know, guys. Like, I guess I was expecting a little more for From standards, which leaves me with no choice but to give this season of From a 6 out of 10.